Hey, this is J.R. McNair here, Atlanta Events. I got my man D's on the 1 and 2.
How you doing, JR?
Hey, man, I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. We got a great person in the studio today, Miss Angel Mills. How you doing, Angel?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing great, doing great. Listen, we're excited about what you do. I'm very big on events, of course, and that's why we have this show. We want to bring on people that are doing good things in the city, people that are making moves. And, you know, you not only do events, but you help people with brands. You help people with all of these different things. Tell me about what it is you do and how you came to this place where you are today.
Oh, well, right. There's like that next question, like how do you came here?
That's
the whole story.
Yeah.
But what I do mainly falls into two categories. So I have my own business called Angel Mills Brand Strategy. And so that's where I provide services, education, and coaching for small business owners, mostly here in Metro Atlanta, but I can work with anyone, of course, due to the internet. So I do have some clients that are outside of the Metro Atlanta area, outside of Georgia altogether. So I do, of course, the services piece, like that will kind of fall into freelancing, and then also actual classes I host online and in person.
Okay.
And then also like one-on-one coaching and small group coaching for small business owners. So these would be people who maybe aren't really ready to hire someone to do their services. They still kind of have what I like to call the brand foundation. Their brand foundation isn't really built yet. So they need some assistance and support doing that. And so kind of what made me want to start my business is initially I thought I was just going to freelance for people. Okay. And so I started doing that, and I was working with small business owners. And then I realized, oh my God, they don't know what they want. If you've ever freelanced, you know how that feels.
Totally.
Like, people don't know what they want. They don't know what they want to do. And so I was kind of thinking like, okay, what do they need to be able to get to the place where they can hire help? Because some people have money, but they don't have any vision or don't have anything in place to really like indoctrinate another person into bringing their vision to fruition. So I was kind of thinking about like all the steps that you need to take, or all the steps that I took to understand what I need to do for my business to be able to like work with a third party. So that's kind of last summer I started hosting these brand foundation workshops here in Metro Atlanta. So I partnered with the Atlanta Fulton County Library, or Fulton, I don't think it's Fulton County, but the Fulton Public Library system.
No, I definitely know.
And so we did about 4 workshops last year. They were free, open to the public. Any small business owners who wanted to could come, and we tackled a lot of those different topics regarding like how to build your brand from the ground up.
So tell me a little bit more about services, because that can mean a lot of stuff.
It sure can. And oftentimes it can be customized. So for services, I usually will do, if I'm executing for you, it's usually a more established business. So I do some freelance with like some nonprofits. I've worked with some restaurants before as well. And so those businesses usually have been around for a while. Some of them, decades, and they usually need some help updating their branding or kind of getting to the next level. My background is in a lot doing communications for nonprofits. Specifically. So
you mean mainly in like graphic design, or in
more so in marketing strategy.
Marketing strategy.
So, but I will work with designers to execute a vision or a marketing strategy. So it includes things like social media content creation, keeping an editorial calendar, your actual strategy, what marketing mechanisms are you going to use to promote something. Those are kind of like where my background lies. And so, of course, in the nonprofit space, what often happens is like the marketing person is the last person they hire. They hire everyone else, and then it's like the new position comes. Now we need somebody to post on social media.
That's right.
So, and some of them, contract out. And the contracting thing, that's where everything is going these days. Definitely within this realm, some people want to do the full-time thing, but a lot of companies are working with contractors. So that's kind of my space
Yeah.
as far as my business is concerned.
Well, the whole thing, Forbes said by 2020 that 50% of the population would be freelancers or contractors in some capacity, the part-time or full-time. So, I mean, and it's
Absolutely.
here. I mean, I think it's the model where, it's not so much about you working from somebody. It's really what problem can you help that company solve?
Yeah.
What solution can you give to them? And I actually think it's even better because it gives the individual the flexibility to be able to say, hey, you know what? Sometimes certain contracts can mean 2-3 months worth of payment that they would have by working as an employee. So I mean, it's actually it works, but you have to work it, right?
Yes. Oh yeah. It takes a lot of networking for sure.
No, totally.
For sure. And you have to be. So it's basically unlearning everything you've learned so far about working and jobs and retelling yourself something completely different. So it can be challenging in that way because you have to deal with a certain level of uncertainty. You have to have strong self-reliance. You have to be kind of bold sometimes to go out there and get those clients. So it's definitely different in that realm. But, I was actually recently reading Think and Grow Rich.
Good book.
Right. Everyone reads it. I actually finally read it like the end of 2019.
Okay.
And as I was reading it, they were talking about the future of work. And they said the future of work is employees and bosses, in air quotes, having shared profit. And I was like, that's why Uber is so successful. That's why all these gig platforms are so successful because people want shared profit for their time, their energy, and effort. They don't want to give everything they've got to one place. They see the inequity in doing that. Yeah,
I mean, I think it's just the point of where the technology has advanced such, and then people's mindsets have advanced such to where. Generations before, it was a thing to go in and work for a job for a long time. Then it transpired to where, companies maybe weren't seen to be as loyal to employees. And then you had others who maybe couldn't go into the workforce and get a six-figure job. So I think it's in all of those things kind of mixed together, the perfect storm kind of puts people in a point where they're like, you know what? If I'm gonna take a chance, I need to take a chance on myself.
And for me, because a lot of people, of course, I fall into the millennial generation.
Okay.
And a lot of
millennials. I said millennials goes from like 1981 to like 1997.
Okay, so we are millennials.
So that's like a huge span.
Well, I think they need to separate millennial into like two categories though.
Maybe three.
It's like two or three different categories.
Three categories.
My millennial category. Because I'm in my late 20s.
Yeah.
So we went through the recession.
Yeah.
So that also influences how we think about this gig economy and how we think about loyalty to a company as well. Because we saw, like for me, I'm from Detroit. And so I saw family members who worked for the plants, the car plants for years and years and years. And we're depending upon these pensions and we're depending upon retiring from these places, see their whole life plan just blow up.
That's right.
So at that point, you see that happening. And I was in high school. There are some of my peers who were graduating from college and about to enter the job market at that point.
Yeah.
So that really has an impact on how you view stuff moving later.
Yeah, totally.
Moving forward down the line.
Totally. I mean, that's that first thought of like, hey, this is what work is, and loyalty kind of is. So hey, and I think at the end of the day, what it did for individuals is really said, hey, look, I'm gonna take matters into my own hands, and if instead of me relying on a company, let me rely on myself. And I think it puts us in a position where it's like, you know what? I can do this. We can do this. And that's phenomenal. And it kind of brings us to my next question is about your what you do with these entrepreneurs in your meetup group.
Yes.
And you bring them in and you speak to them about helping to make an impact in their lives and in the lives of others. Talk a little bit about that.
Yes. So I have a meetup group. It's called Atlanta Business Strategy. So the group is less than a year old, but we've already grown to over 1,300 members.
That's great.
On the group. So it's growing rapidly. And this year we actually have a home.
Okay.
For 2020. So
where is it at?
We have partnered at Ecom Spaces. I'm not sure if you're familiar with them.
Okay.
But they are located in the west end of Atlanta.
Okay.
They're a co-working space for mainly e-commerce entrepreneurs. So what they do is they provide space, they provide education for e-commerce businesses, and they also they have a whole shipping facility in this building as well. So they can do drop shipping and any international shipping, things like that you need. Also, if you are a business here and you accept large shipments from other countries, they can intercede those shipments as well. So they have like a great operation. A lot of people do not know about them.
Yeah.
But their space
you putting them on blast now, so that's good.
Their space is beautiful. They're also in Peer Space, so a lot of people rent out like kind of like the co-working area for different events and things like that. They also, of course, co-work there. So they have memberships and things like that for that. They're also in Peer Space for, renting out the space for events. And then they have that whole back warehouse that you wouldn't even know unless you kind of get a tour of the space. You would be shocked that there's a huge warehouse in the back.
Yeah.
You can't tell that from the front. So we're so happy to be in that space. They've agreed to partner with us this year. So we have a home.
That's great.
So that eliminates some of the stress of finding a location each month. But
believe me, I know we have meetups and have been doing them for a while. And so it can be like, hey, you know what? I want to do something, but it's a lot that goes into it.
Because each month we usually have speakers come in, speak about different topics. So to have to secure a speaker in a space is just crazy. For possibly, it could be a chance that 1,300 people show up. That never happens, but it could happen.
But then too, you still have to market it.
Yes, and then you have to market it. So you have to find time to do all that.
Yeah, totally.
So it's great to have a home.
Yeah.
So our next two meetups, our most recent or closest one will be January 29th. Next Wednesday, of course, at Ecom Spaces. They are at, I believe, 600 Bronner Brothers Way.
Okay.
And so that program is called Can I Deduct It?
Okay.
So it's for small business owners. We're going to talk about what you can deduct on your taxes, what you cannot deduct on your taxes, and basically just tax tips for small business owners who some of them maybe have separate legal entities, some don't. We're going to cover all that. We have two tax professionals that are going to talk to us for that. So they are, and I had to write down their names, so I'll make sure I get it right.
Okay.
Deval Carter and Johan Missolini.
Okay.
Both of them are business owners here in Atlanta.
Okay.
So, and they're tax professionals, they're accountants. So they're going to be there to talk to us. I actually had coffee with Deval today. So the two of them have been working together and they're putting together a really great presentation. They're going to do a lot of Q&A. It's going to be from 6 to 8 p.m. after work. So definitely, if you all are available, come by. Then we also have our February meetup, which is a Valentine's Day theme.
Okay.
So this one is called Love and Biz.
All right.
So we're talking to couples who are entrepreneurs who run businesses together. And basically, we're going to have kind of a panel discussion with them. So Q&A from the audience. I'll be hosting it. And we're going to talk to them about like the good and the bad and the ugly of being in love and running a business together and how you make it work. Some of them have families too. So they're going to kind of talk about like how you operate your family in addition to your actual business with each other. So I'm really excited about that one.
Yeah, no, it is a trial and it's a trial and error thing. You figure out what works and you keep it moving. So
yeah, and I think the question we're asking is, does it work?
Yeah, you have to have two people. I think it can look, partnerships in anything is difficult, right? And I think the good thing about a love partnership is that you have I tell people all the time, I said a business partnership is like being married without the benefits, right?
Yeah.
But you look at that type of relationship, you have to really be able to cut off when this is business and when it's personal, or
Probably like, okay, we're not going to talk about work at home.
exactly.
Or, yeah.
I mean, and it's something though. I mean, work is part of home, and home is part of work. We're not really segmented people. We want to think that we are. We want to think that when we go home, our work stays at work, and when we
work is life.
Yeah, and when we go to go home, or go into the office, our home doesn't go into the office. What it does, whether or not you don't say it or not, it's on your face.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, but no, that's something phenomenal. Then what do you have coming up in March?
So in March, March is TBA. First of all.
Okay. I got you.
But it is Women's Month in March. So we're going to do something for Women's Month for sure. And of course, we'll be at Ecom Spaces. So if you all do want to join the meetup, it's free. If you go to meetup.com and just search Atlanta Business Strategy, you can join. And then you'll see I update it when I have the information for all of the events. And we do have our April event up, which is April 13th, and it's Plan Events Like a Pro.
Okay.
So we're talking about event planning, and we actually have an event planner coming in. So she's going to talk about things to keep in mind, just some of the basics. There'll be a Q&A opportunity as well. So we have a lot of people interested in that event. So I would definitely say if you're interested, register.
Okay, that's great. Well, who knows? We may stop by. Might make an appearance. Send somebody by there. We may send somebody by there to kind of give y'all some pub that day. So
yes, please come.
Yeah. So what's next for you? What's your next thing for you, or your brand, or what's the next big thing that you have on your plate as far as 2020 or even going forward?
So on a business side, my own business, Angel Mills Brand Strategy, we are doing more digital classes. So you'll be seeing digital courses from me. I recently wrote my first ebook, so you'll be seeing more of those this year. So the ebook is called Growing Your Contact List from 0 to 500 plus using free events of all things. So I talk about how you can grow your email list, and using free events, how you maximize like data collection from potential customers, how you kind of build a community around your brand using platforms like Meetup and Eventbrite. So, and I also have a masterclass on that as well. So I'm on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook as She Is Angel Mills. So you can find the replay link at any of those places to check that out. So that's kind of like a new passion. I want to share more information about kind of using in-person techniques to grow digitally. I don't always see that conversation being had.
Well, I always tell people when I talk to them, I say in person is the new online.
People need both. People need you to see them in person and see them online and talk to them online. Yeah,
because we're social creatures by nature. When I don't just mean social media. We want to feel and touch people. Henry, and Thoreau talked about that, us being social creatures and needing interaction,
absolutely,
with others. And so I think that's extremely important. So you talked about your social media pages, but do you have your website?
Yes, angelmillsbrandstrategy.com. You can find me there. I'm also on LinkedIn. I believe on LinkedIn, I'm just Angel Mills. On LinkedIn. And I have a LinkedIn page for my business and a personal page for just myself as well. So also active there. There will be something new that I'm working on. And do I want to share it?
You might as well.
Let's share it. Why not?
Yeah, why not?
So one of my friends who's participating in the February event, her and her husband have started a business together called Certified Africa. And so I actually recently went on a trip with them to Ghana.
Oh, wow.
To help them with social media and to do content creation for them. And so this business is a travel company. They take members of the African diaspora back to Ghana. So for those who didn't know, 2019 was a year of return for Ghana. So everybody was there.
Yeah.
So a lot of people probably saw on their social media that everybody was in Ghana in around December time for the year of return events and celebrations. So they were very active with that. So we're working together to do something for business owners. And it's going to be basically like a bizcation. Where we're going to get business owners together in a small, intimate space. We're going to stay the weekend together. and we're going to work on each other's businesses all weekend.
Okay, that's
Long
great.
story short, yeah, that's the concept of it.
That's great.
So we're looking to launch that in the next probably about 3 months.
And that will be when y'all work on the business. That will be in Ghana.
No, so that's their primary business is Certified
Okay.
Africa. We're going to launch it U.S. stateside.
Okay.
Yeah, so probably somewhere. They live in Florida. I live in Georgia. So probably somewhere in between Florida and Georgia.
I got you.
So, and I think we'll probably switch back and forth,
Yeah.
between having in Florida. Definitely looking at locations that are more remote,
Yeah.
just so you kind of have that feeling of being away.
Yeah,
And just
so-
being able to like think about your business outside of the normal hustle and bustle of life.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah.
I think that's great. No, I think that's awesome. I think that we have to focus on ourselves and on our companies outside of client space.
You have to
really get the traction that you need, right?
And to clear your mind, like being in Ghana, their trip includes some business opportunities. So you get to talk to business owners in Ghana. You get to talk to members of the diaspora who are doing business in Ghana from all over the place.
Okay.
And so it really had my mind thinking about taking, my brand international and how I could partner with businesses in places like Ghana and other countries. So it was like if I was sitting in Atlanta every day, sitting in that traffic, it's hard to think about those kind of things until you're like in a physically different space.
Totally.
It really opened up my mind to some different opportunities.
I go on vacation about every two or 3 months, and it just to get away, even if it's for 4 days,
Yeah.
And so I think it's important.
Where do you like to go?
I go to Florida. I go to Orlando a lot. I go to
warm.
I go to Hilton Head. We go to Savannah. I go to places that I can drive to and get to under like 7 hours. And so just a place where I can drive, get away, and just relax. I think it's important. I work hard, and I try to get a break to refocus and get back to it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I feel so recharged from that trip.
No, I bet
like I
you
just
did.
been just taking 2020. Like we gonna do everything.
Yeah,
this
no,
year.
look, but that's what it does when you go do those refreshers. That's why I tell people we in this country only really do a couple we may do a vacation a year, the average American.
I didn't grow up doing any vacation.
My parents,
I
we
did
went on
vacations.
vacation.
I was in college.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
I took somebody to Florida some years back, and it was the first time these people were like, they were in their like late 20s or mid 20s, and it's the first time they ever been to the beach. And I was like, seriously? I said, what happened? Like, my folks used to go. We used to just take trips, and my mom was a civilian in the Army, so she used to have to get the trainings, TDY, and we would go with her. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So, but no, it's great, and I know a lot of Ghanaians. Say Ghanaians, whatever.
Ghanaians.
Ghanaians, yes.
Yeah, I used to say Ghanaians. They were like, no, it's Ghanaians.
Ghanaians. Okay,
Yes.
yeah. So I know several of them. We actually had I saw a lot of them, not in maybe the best. It was a funeral, and they came, and they are very loyal people. Their whole family. It was lots of them came all the way from Ghana for a funeral, which I thought was amazing.
My friend does videography work, and he filmed a funeral.
Yeah.
His clients were Liberian, and they filmed the funeral so the people at home in Liberia could see the funeral.
Yeah.
So the funerals are serious.
No, and they should be serious, but in our country they're not.
Yeah,
Typically,
you make it or you can't.
You make it or you can't, and it's like life goes on. But death is a part of life, and I think that's important. So see, look, y'all, we've been on this time. We've talked about everything from events to
Life to
brands to life to international stuff to death. See, this is what you get on our show. You don't ever know what we gonna talk about.
We done went full circle.
Full circle all the way. So now listen, I have one last question for you before we leave.
Okay.
That question is, if you're now knowing what you're knowing for being in the business, the time that you've been in it, what advice can you give to somebody else that's coming in and starting a company? What would be your advice to them?
So I would say 2 things. And I can say it fast because I've been saying it to some clients this week.
Okay.
So the first thing is you don't have to wait till you have an offering, meaning a product or a service, to begin to brand your business. start now. And you can brand your business around the ideology around your brand, whether you have a service or product ready to put out for purchase or not.
Because those can change.
Right. Those can change. And that's exactly what I say. You can change them. And if your brand is strong, they'll follow you with whatever. Like so many people tell me all the time, well, you know, I'm going to have a clothing line, but my clothes aren't ready. So they don't want to do anything. So it's like, I'm not going to post anything on social media. I'm not going to put up a site. But what is your brand about? And you can begin to post and build an audience around what your brand is about. And that can, like, you can build that community around that.
That's right.
So that's my first piece. My second piece is sell it, then build it.
Yeah.
So don't build something if you don't have a buyer for it. So even if I'm doing an event, if it's ticketed or I'm doing my ebook, for example, I sold the ebook before I wrote the ebook.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't going to write the ebook if nobody was going to buy the ebook. Like why even, you know, so you want to kind of be in a model where you can do that. So if you have, for example, a clothing line, do a pre-sale first.
Yeah.
Build your brand first. Then once your brand is at a good place, then do a pre-sale. Get some orders.
Yeah.
Then you use that money that you have from those orders from those pre-orders to like actually make the product. If you don't get the pre-orders, don't even bother because maybe people don't want it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, go back to the drawing board.
No, that's good. And that can definitely, you know, my philosophy in business is to launch and perfect it later.
And you use the feedback you're getting over time of having something out there to improve it.
No, totally. And I like the sell it and build it too, because listen, if you can, you know, I built my first company with $600 and I was we took it in 10 months and turned that $600 into like $250,000, you know, and that was off the sales of our customers. So
right.
I'm like, you know, everybody thinks it takes $1 million to start a company or they got to win a lottery or have perfect credit. Shoot, I jacked my credit up before I even knew what I was doing. So, you know, and so, but no, that's great. I'm happy for you. I look forward to seeing many good things for you, especially here in Atlanta, because I think we need minds that are willing to think different and go after the things that we want, right?
Absolutely.
So listen, you keep doing it. We're excited for you.
Thank you. Thank y'all for having me too.
No, you look.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, we know that you're gonna do some great things. We're gonna come out to one of those events. I can't tell you which one yet, but we're gonna try to get out there and do that. And everybody that's listening, and go out and support Atlanta Business Strategy Meetup and Angel Mills. Check her out on all of the platforms. And my man D is gonna take us out of Atlanta events here with J.R. McNair and Mr. Demetrius.
And before we do that, please be sure to follow us on Instagram at Velocity Radio Network. So until next time.